I'm going to give it to ALF, KN5. Victor, Echo 8, Golf, Echo Romeo, pass. This is Kilo Charlie 3, Juliet Alpha Sierra. You are 5-5 in the Park Kilo 8961.
This is the military radio GRC-106. The radio was developed in the 60s and it was used by the US Army all the way into the 80s. After that it was replaced with more modern frequency hoppers. The radio was also used by many militaries in other countries. So this is a pretty well-known military radio. It's truly a tactical military radio. It's not something that only was used in peacetime. This was a true war machine. It was used in vehicles, in tanks, in armored vehicles, and as such it's not light, but it's extremely robust and extremely reliable. What you see here is the receiver exciter. The receiver exciter is the RT834, and this is the late model that had the 100 Hz steps included, synthesized, digitally synthesized. The earlier models only did 1 kHz steps, and then you had to use the frequency vernier to get in between the channels, like a clarifier. It is all solid state except 2 tubes in the RF and mixer stage. The rest is solid state, so it's a hybrid. It was accompanied by the AM3349/GRC-106 amplifier. This amplifier is about 400 or 500 watts. It uses two ceramic 2CX250, 4 CX250 tubes in parallel. It tunes automatically except for the antenna tuner that's also included. built in, but you have to adjust that manually. But the meters tell you whether you're in lead or lag, so it's fairly easy to tune to the right impedance. It's not difficult to learn that. The manual explains how that works. These 3 meters are used for that. There is a high impedance output for a whip antenna that was used on vehicles. It also is a 50 ohm output, so when you put a cable connector there, a 50 ohm connector, then this switch will automatically go to 50 ohms. If you take that out, this will flip in and then it switches to the high impedance whip antenna matcher. So it's pretty simple actually. There's really not much to this radio. Can go quickly over the controls here. There is a push to talk normally. That's what this is for. Mic, telemic. There is push to Vox. So that is a combination of Vox and push to talk, and there is Vox that you don't need to use the push to talk. I think the Vox was mostly used for RTTY communication. So once the RTTY converter gives off a signal, the unit will automatically go to the transmit mode. There is a squelch. It's not a very sensitive squelch, but it works. There is a BFO. I'm not sure what that's used for. It is of course used for the CW mode, but in my opinion it wouldn't really be needed because you also have the frequency vernier here. But in any case, this sets both transmit and receive. This only impacts the receive, I would think, so this is truly for CW mode. There is an RF gain, and of course there is an audio output. And here are the frequency settings. The unit tunes from 2 to 29.9999 megahertz, so 100 hertz steps. And it's fully synthesized and everything is locked to a single master oscillator, which is ovenized. You can leave the oven on when the whole unit is turned off, because it takes a while for this oven to warm up. So what would be done in practice would be to, if the unit is turned off, you leave the oven on, so for the next time you're ready to go once you turn it on. There is a standby mode, single sideband, frequency shift keying for RTTY, there is an amplitude modulation mode, and there is a CW mode. Here we have the receiver in, which comes from the amplifier, which contains the transmit receive relay. And here we have the RF out, which would go to the RF drive. And then we have the antenna outputs here, as I said earlier. Unfortunately, I don't have a power cable for the PA, so I cannot demonstrate that to you. But we have here the power cable in use for the receiver exciter. The receiver exciter runs off 24 to 28 volts. Same here, 24 to 28 volts. Here we're only talking about 1 amp current, so it's not that much. This is obviously a lot more. For 500 watt single tone output, you probably need to put 30 or 40 amps into that. So that requires a big power supply or a vehicle battery. What we can do quickly is show you the transmit capability. After all, it is a receiver exciter, and for that we'll use a ham radio as a monitor receiver. Here we see the inside of the receiver exciter. As you can see, the whole thing is built up modular. This is the RF stage with a big turret for each megahertz part of the band. Here you see the 2 tubes, mixer and the RF amplifier. The rest is transistor. So everything you see here is the transistor stages. Here we got the megahertz synthesizer, the 100 kilohertz synthesizer, 10 and 1 kilohertz synthesizer, and here we have a frequency standard. This is the master oscillator, RF and audio amplifier, 1 kilohertz pulse output for the frequency dividers. Here is another mixer. They call that a translator. Receiver IF. This contains the mechanical filters. There's 3 of them. 2 of them, excuse me. Receiver audio amplifier. And here a DC to DC converter, basically to supply the different stages of this unit. Each module can be removed and quickly replaced, of course. Let's have a look at the under and back side. Here we see the underside. As you can see, the RF turret is motor driven. You probably noticed that when I changed frequencies earlier, you can hear the motor actually spinning. It has that typical American ultra reliable build. All the wiring is PTFE Teflon. There's these little expensive high reliability relays. And here we see the back of the unit. It is just super professional in its build. This was made by Cincinnati, but the US military has certain manufacturing standards that make all these radios look kind of the same from the inside. You know, if you see a Collins radio, it looks very much like this, because that is just a whole set of rules, manufacturing and design rules, that this kind of equipment needs to meet. You know, PTFE wire being one of them. But that guarantees that these radio will end up reliably as they can, as reliable as they can. Let's have a look at the PA. Okay, here we have the inside of the power amplifier. You know, this inside truly looks like new. This is also a very late model. It is completely original, has not been messed with by anyone. And they're hard to find in this nice condition, so that's why I wanted to show you the inside. This is that turret I was talking to you about. This is each megahertz segment has a coil element, and this thing will turn around for each different megahertz band that you choose. Here you can see the 2 4CX250 tubes, around 3000 volts, so you don't want to touch anything when this thing is in operation. Here I loosened the screw so you can see the giant vacuum capacitor and the motor driven air capacitor here for the PA/antenna tuner. That's all part of the game. It just looks incredibly professional. It's almost like a work of art, this machine. It's just the nicest, most beautiful piece of equipment you will find. Let's have a quick look at the underside. Okay, the underside almost looks boring in comparison. A couple of access hatches, and of course everything aluminum construction, as you see on all American professional equipment. This is the back. There is a high-speed blower here. That is a closed cycle blower, so there won't be any dust gathering in there, because there is a heat exchanger in the top case that exchanges the heat from the inside circulated air to the outside. So you never have to be worried that this radio fills up with all kind of dust. That you won't have that problem with this radio. That was the inside of the power amplifier. Let's put it back together again. Alright, we'll use this Yaesu FT818 as the monitor receiver. And we're at 14.2500. I need to move the antenna to the transmitter output, the exciter output. Like I said, the transmit receive relay is in here, not in here. It has a separate output for transmit and receive. So we'll see what we get. 1, 2, 3. This is the handset we're using. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 14.250. As you can see, the unit is pretty good on frequency. Like I said, everything is derived from a single master oscillator that is ovenized. We can go to some other frequency. Let's try 80 meters. $3,750. Let me set the... Okay, we're at 3.750 right now in the 80 meter band. Let's see what we get. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, that works as well. As you can see, it's only upper side band. I forgot to tell you that this radio is only upper side band capable. And that would obviously be a problem at 40 and 80 meters and 160, 80, well I can't do that, but 80 and 40. But the good news is that there are special boat anchor nets that facilitate that and use upper side band on those frequencies. It's fairly easy to modify it to lower side band by changing a mechanical filter. But you know, every real collector would never do a thing like that, but lots of people have done that. Let's go to 7 megahertz. 7250. Still an upper side band, of course. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3. It does that well. 7250.0. You know, if I go up 200 hertz, you can see that this is really digitally synthesized, because as you will hear, it will be exact on frequency again. 1, 2, 3. 7250.2. Let's try a very high frequency, 28 megahertz. Alright, we're at 282500. And here the same. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. As you can see, we have enough sensitivity of the meter to actually show some power output. But it's only 100 milliwatt that this unit gives off, receiver exciter. That will be amplified to the 500 watts by the power amplifier. And I have this in maximum sensitivity for this higher frequency. But you see, it works pretty good on all frequencies. We'll try one more frequency, 21.250. Let's see what we get there. 21.250, that is the 15 meter band. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And it does that too. Modulation is actually quite good. These horns, these microphones, telemics as they call them, they have a carbon microphone in here. So this that was the standard, what they call NATO, as a handset for the 70s and 80s. Later they changed that to a dynamic element with a different connector that you might have seen on more modern military radios. In any case, as you see, radio works fine. We'll try to tune into some more stations. Just a quick look at some of the modules. This is the mount that mounts both the receiver exciter and the power amplifier. So if you wanted to put the whole thing in a vehicle, you would need this. It has this quick mount and release system that basically grabs the sides of the equipment and pulls it down when you latch this lever. Let's try 17 meter. Not much going on there. As you see, it does that fine. Like I said, it can be tuned anywhere from 2 megahertz to 29.9999 megahertz in 100 hertz resolution. Really works nice. The GRC-106 vintage military radio classic. Thank you for watching this video.